Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are pleased to present our final project for ENG2583 research proposal writing. Before we begin, allow me to introduce my group members, FATIHA, HANA QISTINA, ALEEA KHALEESA, HANA SOFEA, and myself, AISHAH HUMAIRA. Our research is titled Exploring Gender-Based Perceptions Among DEC6 Students at College Professional Mara Seri Iskandar on the Educational Impacts of Early Marriage. This topic was chosen because we believe it is relevant, timely, and important in understanding how early marriage may influence the academic experiences of students in higher education.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Today we will be presenting our research proposal entitled Exploring Gender-Based Perceptions Among DEC6 Students at College Professional Mara Seri Iskandar on the Educational Impacts of Early Marriage. I will start with the background of the study. Early marriage is still a common issue in many parts of the world, including Malaysia. It often affects young people by interrupting their education and limiting their opportunities for personal and academic growth. Some individuals are pressured to marry early due to family expectations, cultural traditions, or financial challenges. Since education plays a key role in shaping a person's future, it is important to study any factor that may disrupt it. In Malaysia, there are still teenagers who marry as early as 16 or 17 years old. These cases are often linked to unplanned pregnancies, lack of sex educations, or decisions made by the family. Globally, millions of girls marry before the age of 18 each year, and many of them end up dropping out of school as a result. That is why we believe this topic is important to explore. Our study focuses on understanding how both male and female students perceive early marriage and how it might affect their education. By comparing both perspectives, we hope the findings can help raise awareness and contribute to better support systems for students facing similar challenges.
Now, let me explain the research problem, the objectives, and the questions we're focusing on, and why this study matters. For our research problem, we focus on early marriage, which still happen among college students even though education and awareness have improved. This shows that early marriage is still a relevant issue in today's society, especially among young adults. Married students often face many challenges in their studies, so this includes poor attendance, stress, trouble managing time, and financial problems. All of this can affect their academic performance. At KPM Seri Iskandar, there's a very little research that looks into how the EC Semester 6 students feel or think about early marriage. So, through this study, we aim to explore their views and also see whether male and female students have different opinions. As the importance of formulating a research problem, having a clear and specific research problem is important because it helps the study stay focused and not go off track. It ensures that the research is relevant and meaningful. It also helps the researcher form a strong and useful research questions based on real students' experience. So with a clear problem, we can choose the most suitable method to collect data and get a reliable result. Most importantly, the findings from this kind of focused study can help improve academic support and student services, especially for students going through personal challenges like early marriage. To understand why this research is important, we must first look at where the problem comes from. The issue of early marriage among students is not new, but it is still happening even today. This study focuses on final year DEC students because we believe that they are more mature and are already planning for their future, either to work or continue studying. So at this stage, topics like marriage and responsibilities are more serious. Early marriage can affect their success in education. Students who marry early may lose focus, face pressure, or even drop out. But in Malaysia, there are still not many studies that ask how college students themselves feels about early marriage. Some awareness programs do exist, but they don't always include the real voices of students. And on top of that, culture and social expectations also play a role in shaping how students see marriage. This mix of reasons makes it important to study. Early marriage is still a real issue in some communities and continue to disrupt young people's education. However, we don't have enough data on how students personally experience it. Also, gender-based views are rarely discussed. That's why our study wants to see whether male and female students view early marriage differently. This study uses a descriptive and quantitative approach by using surveys to collect data. Our focus group is DEC Semester 6 students at Kolej Professional Mara Seri Iskandar. This study is guided by three main objectives. These objectives help to focus the research and outline what we aim to explore. The first one is to explore students' perception of how early marriage affects academic performance. Next one is to examine the differences in opinion between students on balancing education and early marital responsibilities. And lastly is to identify perceived challenges faced by married students in continuing their studies. From these objectives, we developed three research questions to guide the study. So these questions aim to understand students' views and experience. So the first question is, what are students' opinion on why early marriage happen among young people? Next one is, how do students perceive the impact of early marriage on the future of young individuals? And lastly is, what challenges do students believe young people faced when they get married early? This research is significant because it provides deeper insight into how early marriage affects students' education in Malaysia. It can also be useful for future research in the areas of youth development and education. Additionally, the study raises awareness among students about the impact of early marriage and encourages more open discussion on how to balance academic life with marital responsibilities.
Assalamualaikum, and today I'll be presenting Chapter 2, Literature Review of our study. So this chapter looks into early marriage among diploma students that age 18 to 21 years old, focusing on its definition, causes, effects, past research, and gaps that our study aims to address. Early marriage is commonly defined as a union where one or both individuals are under age of 18. However, in our context, we also include young adults aged 18 to 21 who marry before completing their studies. So this stage of life is important for emotional growth and academic development, but many face external pressures, such as family expectations, cultural belief, religious influences, and unplanned pregnancies, which can lead them to marry before they are truly ready. There are several common causes of early marriage. Firstly, family pressure plays a big role. Parents may push their children into marriage to avoid shame, or they believe that it's the best option, especially after an unplanned pregnancy. Secondly, poverty can influence the decision, as families might view marriage as a way to ease financial burdens. Thirdly, cultural and religious belief often normalize early marriage and see it as a moral or expected step. Finally, exposure to romantic relationships and social media can influence students emotionally and lead to rushed decisions. Early marriage brings many challenges for students. In education, married students often face difficulty focusing in class, may miss lessons, or even drop out due to responsibilities at home. Mentally and emotionally, they may experience stress, anxiety, or even feel isolated from their peers, especially during group work or social activities. For female students, especially early pregnancy can cause both physical and emotional strain, making it harder to stay in school or manage their health. Previous studies have shown that early marriage often leads to lower academic achievements and emotional distress, especially among young women. Research in Malaysia links early marriage to poverty, cultural norms, and lack of proper education or awareness. However, most research focuses on under 18 marriages. This is a clear gap when it comes to students aged 18 to 21, particularly those in rural areas or studying at diploma level. So this gap is what our study focuses on, to understand how early marriage affects this specific group in terms of academic and emotional development. And that's all from me for chapter 2. Early marriage brings many challenges for students. In education, married students often face difficulty focusing in class, may miss lessons, or even drop out due to responsibilities at home. Mentally and emotionally, they may experience stress, anxiety, or even feel isolated from their peers, especially during group work or social activities. For female students, especially early pregnancy can cause both physical and emotional strain, making it harder to stay in school or manage their health. Previous studies have shown that early marriage often leads to lower academic achievements and emotional distress, especially among young women. Research in Malaysia links early marriage to poverty, cultural norms, and lack of proper education or awareness. However, most research focuses on under 18 marriages. This is a clear gap when it comes to students aged 18 to 21, particularly those in rural areas or studying at diploma level. So this gap is what our study focuses on, to understand how early marriage affects this specific group in terms of academic and emotional development. And that's all from me for chapter 2.
Hello and Assalamualaikum. I will present chapter 3 of our research proposal, which is about the methodology used in this study. This research used a mixed method approach combining both quantitative and qualitative methods. The reason we chose this is because we want to get both the general opinion from many students and also personal view in more detail. By using both methods, we can understand the topic of early marriage more clearly and deeply. For the quantitative part, we use a Google Form survey which we shared with Semester 6 students in the Diploma in English Communication DEC program. This survey helps us collect data in numbers and percentages to see the patterns about how students think early marriage affects their education. We also added a few open-ended questions in the survey. This is the qualitative part where students can write their own thoughts and experiences. This helps us understand their opinions in more detail and gives us examples of real student views. The research is conducted at Kolej Professional Mara Seri Iskandar or KPMSI. It is a diploma level college in Perak. We chose this college because it has a good number of DEC students and the environment is suitable for collecting academic opinions. The target group is semester 6 DEC students, usually aged between 19 to 25 years old. This group is important because they are about to finish their diploma journey and can give mature views about life, marriage, and education. In total, the population is about 122 students, including both male and female students. We want to compare their opinions to see how gender may affect their perception of early marriage. To collect the data, we used the convenient sampling method. This means we chose students who were available, willing to participate, and could easily be contacted during the data collection period. Even though this method may not show every possible view, it still helps us get meaningful and useful responses. In conclusion, this mixed method approach gives us a balanced view, and the data we collect will help us understand how early marriage affects the education of final year DEC students. Thank you.
Moving on, our study used a mixed method approach, which means we combine both quantitative and qualitative methods to collect and analyze data. This allowed us to gain not only measurable results, but also deeper insights into the students' perceptions. For the quantitative part, we distributed a structured survey using Microsoft Forms to 120 semester 6 DEC students. The survey included Likert scale, multiple choice, and short answer questions focusing on their views about early marriage, its causes, effects, and challenges, especially in relation to education. The survey link was shared through platforms like WhatsApp, Instagram, and Telegram, and participants were given 2 weeks to respond. For the qualitative part, we conducted semi-structured interviews with 50 students who volunteered after the survey. These interviews were held either face-to-face or online via Microsoft Teams, depending on the student's preference. The questions were open-ended, encouraging students to share their personal and cultural perspectives. With consent, each interview was recorded and transcribed for technical analysis. Our data analysis included descriptive statistics to examine the survey results and thematic analysis to interpret interview data. This combination helped us to identify the trends, gender differences, and emotional or social factors affecting perceptions of the early marriage. We also followed strict ethical guidelines throughout the study. Participation was voluntary, informed consent was obtained, confidentiality was maintained, and students were free to withdraw at any point without any consequences. As tokens of appreciation, survey participants received e-certificates and interview participants were given snacks. That marks the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for listening until the end.